Hello all, hope you're doing well. So I had a week off recently and it got me thinking. I was thinking about how much I explain names to you. So I thought it'd be fun to switch things around a little bit and instead you explain names to me. So during my time off, I asked my patrons and all the friends of Name Explain over on the Facebook group to share with me their favourite etymologies and word origins and just language facts in general. And oh boy, did you guys deliver. So in this video, it's just a little bit different, a little bit fun because I had some time off so I couldn't make a proper video, although this is a proper video I suppose. I thought it'd be great if you shared your favourite word origins with me. Basically it's yay, however you say it, but with names instead. There were two sources I asked for etymologies from, and that's from the Friends of Name Explain Facebook group and the Patreon page. So if you're not on either of those, then why aren't you? It's the greatest place to interact with me and other name-loving people out there. Friends of Name Explain is such a fun Facebook group. Sorry, the clouds have just affected my lightness and that's just annoyed me a little bit, but let's carry on. The Friends of Name Explain Facebook group is a really great place to interact with other Name Explain fans, talk about word origins and etymology, and the Patreon is the best way to support Name Explain. Financially, every month, $1 a month gets you loads of bonus extra good content. Go join it. Have I said enough? Cool. And yes, I really do know I need a haircut. I'm just looking at my hair right now. It's looking a bit silly. The barbers aren't open here in England yet, but pretty soon they'll be open. Maybe next time you see me on camera, I might have a haircut. Probably not. I'm rattling on, let's continue. So these first etymologies are coming from Patreon. I thought they should go first because they're awesome enough to support Name Explain on Patreon financially. And if you want to become a patron, link down below. I'm sure you know the drill by now. Let's hit $1,000 a month by the end of June. We're getting pretty close to it, guys. Fandas Havladotter, so first off, huge apologies on the mispronunciation there. I have no doubt I got that name wrong. They shared that the Westman Islands in Iceland are named after Irish slaves that Ingolfur Arnason killed in revenge for his blood brother, Hodulfur. Why did I start with this one? Murdered at the hands of the slaves. They escaped to the island after the murder and Ingolfur followed them there and named the islands after them since Irish people were named Westmen by Norwegian people. That is really fascinating and it makes all the sense in the world why Irish people would be considered Westernmen. I mean, Ireland's often considered the westernmost point of Europe. I guess Iceland's actually more western. That's interesting. Funnily enough, Iceland's more western than Ireland, but that's the one named after it. Strange. Gregory Duncan had some thoughts on Western Australian names. He said, "This is something I've been wondering about for many years, but only searched for the answer recently while travelling through the area. The up suffix on a multitude of towns in southwestern Australia means place of in the local Noongar language. Further north, the place names ending ing or in, which also mean place of, but in a different Noongar dialect." So there's some Australian names explained to us. Atomic Straw had some pretty interesting facts about the state of New Mexico and how New Mexico is actually the older of the two Mexicos. They said the US state of New Mexico received its name before the country of Mexico, often referred to as Old Mexico. More accurately, the territory that became the state of New Mexico was originally called San Felipe de Nuevo Mexico. Once again, pronunciation, by Spanish explorers in the late 1500s. The country of Mexico took the official name United Mexican States after independence from Spain in the early 1800s. Before that it was known as New Spain. The name Mexico itself derives from the Nahuatl language for the Aztec people. So there's another interesting one. How interesting that New Mexico is actually technically older than Old Mexico. In name standards anyway. Randy Van Halen shared some facts about America, but not the America you're probably thinking of. They said, "Did you know there's a place named after America too? There's a village in the Netherlands called America. It was founded for people who worked in the area, who extracted peat from the ground. It was, back then, a very remote place. People compared it to America. You know, like it's so far away it may as well have been America." I feel like I've heard this one before, so you're not telling me anything new. No, I'm joking. Really good chat. Thank you so much, Randy, for sharing that with us all. Wendy A. Chavez drew some light on her own surname. She said, "I was discussing my last name with another patron on posts about name affixes in various languages. The EZ in my name is slightly different because my name is derived from llaves, a Spanish word for key, and there are 5 keys in the family coat of arms, so I'm sure this is true." That's so cool that the keys in your name are also in your family arms. I wonder if there's a big foot or boot in my family crest. I don't even know what my family crest is. if there is one. Wombat V gave us a small history lesson on the letter J and its use through religion, especially with Jesus. They said the J is only a couple centuries old, and before that, Jesus' name was Yeshua. Now, there were other Yeshua adjacent names also, and those all became Joshua when the J was introduced in Hebrew and English, but for some reason, Yeshua the Christ became Jesus. This is a really fascinating subject as well. This is something I've looked into in the past. The letter J is just one of those really weird ones that just came about. Can't remember how it exactly got here, but a lot of words didn't have J's and now do. Could really have a video onto itself. BJ Windsor over on the Patreon spread a huge light on bowling etymologies. There's some really great ones here, so let's go through them. A Brooklyn is the opposite of a pocket at the front and pins, e.g. if you're right-handed, the correct pocket is between 1 and 3 pins, and a Brooklyn is between 1 and 2, named after the New York borough, I'm guessing because it's on the wrong side, so that's quite a fun idea. And turkey is a much more popular bowling etymology, a bowling term anyway, and turkey comes from the late 18th and early 19th century, where in tournament, a turkey was often given as a prize for bowling 3 strikes in a row, so that's really cool as well. A Woolworth is a 5-10 split, and this is named after Woolworths, as was a 5 and dime store. And then there's also an anchor. The last player in the team lineup term originated in 1913 with Hans Asperberg, blah blah blah, for the Anchor Brewing team in Milwaukee. I definitely pronounced that name right. He was last in the 5-man lineup and bowled XXX in the final 94 times in succession. Gosh, that's a lot of information. You know your bowling, BJ. Anchor has come into other sports, e.g. in athletics relays and its runner on its final leg. Get in there. You can see I'm not very good at this whole talking. I don't know how I made such screw out being at YouTube. I'm quite surprised as well. And then we also have a Dutch 200, and that's when you score 200 by alternately bowling strike, spare, etc., or vice versa. Thought to come from the going Dutch, splitting the bill. This in turn possibly comes from a Dutch door, which is split in the middle and both halves can open in different directions, like a stable door. Whew! I don't need to make a video about bowling now, do I? Cool. No bowling video for you guys. Thanks, BJ. Jake Smith brought to light the derogatory term of chav, which is a derogatory term here in the UK for lower class people from questionable backgrounds, I suppose. At least I don't like the term myself anyway. And they talked about the origin of the word chav has always amused me. Opinion is divided on origin of the term. Chav may have had its origins in the Romani word chavi, meaning child. A lot of people think that it's an acronym of counter-house violence, but this is most likely an example of a backronym, with a backronym being when a word is given an acronym retroactively. They're really cool things. Other words to refer to the same group of people include the much more jocular scally. That's a fun word, a scally. Maybe we should start using scally more. Maybe that's offensive as well. Maybe we don't need to give people names just because of the social background they come from. Maybe. What do I know? And Jake Smith also gave us a clue on the origin of the name Clue. My lighting's awful today, isn't it? Like, cloudy day. Cloudy days don't make good lighting. This whole half of my face is dark. Let's carry on. Jake said, also, clue is a really interesting one. According to Greek mythology, when Theseus entered the labyrinth to kill the Minotaur, a half-man, half-bull, he unraveled a clue, a ball of string behind him, so he could find his way back. This is a story I've actually heard before. I talked about it in my book, by the way, so I actually already kind of knew that one, but I'll forgive you. Thanks for bringing that one to light, Jake. Now, over to the etymologies provided by the Friends of Name Explain Facebook group, and please do consider joining the Facebook group. I know Facebook isn't considered too cool these days, but I like it in a weird way. Myself Active follows everything you do. Just ignore that fact. But go join the Facebook group. It's a really good fun. Loads of great interesting conversation going on there, including you guys sharing etymologies for me to talk about in this video. Noah Alexander Backman talked about double names, which is something we've covered in the past, and mentioned the likes of the Sahara Desert, meaning desert, and the Ohio River, meaning river. These are always funny to share. Happy to talk about them whenever I can. Helen Baumander was talking about the city of Toronto and how you really shouldn't call it Toronto. And she said, if you've never been to Southern Ontario, you probably pronounce it Toronto. I only said that once or twice after living near Montreal for 2 years. If you live in Toronto or the Greater Toronto area, the second T is never pronounced. It's Toronto. There are some variations depending on your accent. As a city where more than half of the people who live there were born in other parts of Canada and other countries, accents vary greatly. Regardless, that T is always silent. I'm not aware of any other places that pronounce differently just based on if you live in it or near it or if it's your first language or accent. And then Megan McCarley Allen, another Torontoer, I think that's the term, Torontonian? I don't know. She said that it's a city-wide joke and that the more slurred it is, the more Toronto it is. Even go far as Toronto. Like, I'll know now if I ever go to there, I'm just going to sort of blurt out a word and I'll be pronouncing it right. It's probably one of the only city names I can say correctly, because you've got to not say it correctly, I suppose. I'll just be like, hi, I'm in the city of blah, and they'll be like, yeah, you said the name spot on. Well done, Patrick. Cool. Maren Elizabeth simply told us the Irish word for jellyfish, which is smugglin roin, not sure if I pronounced that right, translates directly into seal snot. I can understand that perfectly. Jellyfish do look like snot. There are seals in the sea, so it makes sense that they would be snot belonging to seals. Love that stuff. Great little etymology that, thank you. And carrying on with the seal theme, Jesse Coupier said seal, the animal, in Dutch is zeehond, which means sea dog, because sea dogs are basically that, like seals, even. Seals are basically just dogs with flippers and no ears. That's great, I love seals. Clearly you guys do as well. Ben Axelrod shared with us some Hebrew etymologies, saying in Hebrew you can break down most words into deeper meaning, which I find really cool, especially old words which have been around since biblical times. Some good ones that I know of are dog, which is kelev, where ki means like and lev means hard, so dog means like hard, signifying that loyalty that dogs have. And sky is shamayim, where sham means there and mayim means water, so it literally means water is there, as I guess clouds and rain come from the sky. There is water up there. Cool. Thank you. Hebrew's a hard language to pronounce. I'm sure I'm rubbish at speaking most words. You can tell I've been on holiday for some time, haven't you? Because I've just forgotten how to do this. 1 week, that's all it takes, kids. 1 week I'm not doing this and I completely forget how to do it. Nigel Marvin told us that panda in Chinese literally translates to big bear cat. Aww. Adam Monelzu shared with us another Canadian etymology. My god, so many Canadians in this group for sure. People just love Canadian names evidently. They said there's a pretty village located in central Ontario called Notawa. It's actually a name derived from Owijwa, meaning na Hogwarts blah 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 blah. Words are hard. I can't believe I made a career out of saying hard words, well, not really saying hard words, so I was just checking the lighting again. And this means outlet of the river Iroquois, and in fact is not Ottawa. So I guess what's fun about here is the name Notawa is quite literal because it's not Ottawa. Jeffrey Cam told us in Chinese the name for Portugal translates into grape teeth. That's a really strange one. Why is Portugal called grape teeth in Chinese? I want to know that. I might look into that myself personally. And if there's any other weird Chinese names for countries, let me know about them as well, please. And finally, we have Nicholas Riho with yet another Canadian etymology, and they shared with us Tiny and Tay townships are named after 2 dogs owned by Sarah Maitland, wife of Sir Peregrine Maitland, Lieutenant Governor of Upper Canada. Places named after dogs. Yay, we need more places named after dogs. Cool, we love dogs. And that's more than enough for now. Thank you guys all so much for sharing those etymologies with me. It was so great hearing some of these. Some of these I knew of somewhat before. Some of them I didn't know of before, but it was just amazing to read them. You guys clearly have a love of etymology just as much as I do. So I might do this again in the future if I've got some time to kill. Why not do this again? And if you want to be a part of it next time, go support Name Explain on Patreon or go join the Friends of Name Explain Facebook group, because they're my go-to places for sharing, for getting information from you guys. Whew. That's about everything for now. Thank you all so much. I better get back to making some actual videos instead of just farting about like this, shouldn't I? Take care.